So there are different kind of muffin signals, and they all come in a little plastic box. The plastic box is held by two tapes, and when you open it, you have on one side you find all the small cables and the signal, and plus some parts you can glue on. You should not touch the cable too much, that you might destroy the isolation. The manual says to drill a 5 mm hole and pass all the cables through it. I did that, but I quickly found out that passing the cable is not as simple, and the 5 mm hole is actually too big and the signal doesn't hold in position. Then I connect the cable to one of the decoder to test the signal. I'm going to make another review video about the Q decoders I'm using here. So now I turn on the signal. The red looks quite okay. The yellow also. The green looks good on camera, but in reality it looks too greenish, not enough this green blue. But it's a matter of taste. They also make this little dwarf signal, which are used in shunting areas. And the white is okay, and the Q decoder makes it light up quite nicely. Then I wanted to connect the main entry signal with a 6-aspect main signal and 5-aspect distance signal. It has 12 connection, and one thing is already either green and yellow and one red, and you don't know which one is which. And putting all the things through the hole just didn't work because the cables are entangled and it would be nearly impossible to detangle them. So I had to find a better solution. So I came up with making a little wood plate with one of the 4mm rest of my helix, drilling a 4mm hole and sewing something to pull the cable through. And that's actually quite stable, and you are able to move the signal a little bit around to find out where it actually should go. So if it's too near the track, you can always go. And then I drilled a 1 cm hole in the wood here with my test mount. So, and now I had to just try every LEDs and find out which one it is and mark it with a marker, so I remember afterwards when mounting in the correct plane which one was which. Could have been some stuff, but there are competitions which have better system, but they cost way more. Because muffin, it's actually quite cheap for the signals, and if you look a bit around signals, usually signals are very expensive. And here the distance signal testing all the aspects. There are also some auxiliary signals you can mount on your main or distance signals. In this case I have special auxiliary signals which say when the train has to start, so when it's safe to start for passenger train. The cable needs to be on the right side of the signal when looking from the front, and then you drill them around the ladder so it doesn't look too obvious. But I haven't make notice of the signal because usually you don't see the signal from the back. Then you have to fiddle the cable through that little hole at the base of the pole. Yeah. As soon as it's through, it's not a problem, but you need to be careful not to rub off the isolation of the wires. Then you need to solder the pre-resistors, and be careful because the value for the green and for the white light are in this case different. So to be sure to mount the correct one, otherwise the one might be too dark or too bright and not adjusted like the manufacturer thinks it should be. So now it's time to test, so that works. And I usually like to test the signal before mounting it in, but until now I found no broken signals, they were all working. So on here you have the half finally mounted signals. It's not glued yet, so the pole might not be completely straight, but you see I can cycle through all the aspects. I think Mafex signals are quite good for the price. They are very nice detail, have a good light, and I recommend to use this. Also quite cheap compared to other manufacturers. Mafex signals you have in HO you have Swiss and Spanish signal, and in N you have Swiss, Spanish, French and German signals.